Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the SideCats podcast, number 11. Today we're going to be talking about Battlefield and Spider-Man. We're going to split it in between a 2-for-1 episode. We're going to start off with Battlefield 5. The beta just dropped last week. Jake's been playing a decent bit of it. What were your first thoughts?
First thoughts, I was pretty impressed with the beta, actually. It was a pretty solid beta, I would say, for the amount of content they had in it. It wasn't that much to do in it. There was, I think, Conquest and then Tides of War. Tides of War is, I guess, technically a new game mode. It was similar to the one that was in Battlefield 1.
Like Conquest?
No, the Conquest is in it too. That was in this as a separate game mode. This is like you play different like maps in one long kind of multiplayer storyline. Like attackers and defenders, and you go from map to map, progressing through the World War II. So that was in it. That was a pretty interesting game mode. And then Conquest, obviously returning, was also in it. And then there were 2 maps, I want to say. A snow map, then like a city map. I think it was like an Italian map. I'm not sure what their names are, where they exactly were located. But one was like in the snow. One looked like Italy, pretty much.
How big were they?
So for the map size, I would say the snow map was a pretty large map compared to the city one. I don't think they were anything too crazy. They might have been a little smaller than the average Battlefield Conquest map, if I had to guess. And I think the reason behind that is vehicles and planes and just cars in general or whatever. They're more limited now than I think they ever were. The game is focusing more on gunplay and ground-based movement rather than tanks and Humvees and planes, or just tanks in general, since it is in World War II. It's focusing a little more on ground-based combat, so you could get across the map in a decent amount of time. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit, but I don't think they were too big in comparison to some of the other maps. They felt pretty good size. I could get from one point to the other if I wanted to go and push or defend back and forth. I didn't feel like there was too much time in between me being in gunfights in between the different locations on the map. I think the map size, I almost want to say it could be a little smaller for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the only reason I see that is because this could be a solution. This could just be a silly idea. But I do think the average game time is a little long, in my opinion.
How long?
It took some games from 30 to 50 minutes, I would say, is a...
And these aren't Conquest games?
These are the Conquest games.
Those are the Conquest games.
And I guess for Conquest that is a bit average, but...
Yeah.
I don't know, it felt a little long. Even if that is what Conquest players are used to, it felt long to me. It was...
In Battlefield 1, we would play Conquest games for like an hour.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you're thinking of the game mode where it was like multiple rounds across different scenarios. That's not Conquest. Did they change it up? No, that's not Conquest. That's what's similar to it's called Tides of War now. I can't remember what it was called in Battlefield 1. If they're the same thing I'm thinking of. But no, that's a different game mode. And that's fine, because it's kind of like you could play an entire round, and you can jump out before the next map starts in the series of maps. Or you could play through it all the way. And that's kind of interesting as a long game. But if you do just want to do like one round of Conquest, or whatever, it feels a little long on the 40-minute side to me. I don't know. For a shooter, that's... I don't know. It's kind of hard to keep my attention on that. Because you could be just getting destroyed the entire round and have no way of pulling it back, even if you join late, and you're still going to be in there for a while. So I don't know. I think the average round time is a little long, in my opinion. I don't know.
What are the team sizes? They're still kind of like 15 or 20?
No. I think for Conquest it's 32 and 32 again.
Yeah?
I believe so, yes. Something I didn't notice.
The bigger ones.
Yeah, something I did notice in the beta, for some reason, at the end of the round, you can see like how your team did. You can see the whole list of players who like happened to join and happened to leave. And sometimes your team would have like 60 people that have played on your team at some point. A lot of them had like
From
0
leaving?
kills, 0 deaths. Yeah, I guess just like joining and leaving real fast for some reason. But I don't know. It's just something I noticed that like it would be like the final team sheet would be like 60 people versus like 50 people, even though you can only have 32 at a time. At some point, these other people joined and left. I don't know if that was like a glitch or just a case of people joining and leaving consistently. I don't know.
If it isn't, would that case be like once your round ends, even if they did leave, they'd still get XP for finishing? If you were just sitting in another game and you
I don't know.
just got XP for another game that you were in finishing.
I didn't. Oh, in Battlefield, once you are playing and you unlock something, that thing is unlocked regardless if you finish the round. You do get, I think, bonus XP for finishing the round for like either a win or a loss. But if you're playing and you level up your gun, that gun is leveled up. And, like,
so like it doesn't reset if you leave a match early.
Yes,
like,
that's the way it's intended to be. I didn't test it in this, but that's the way it's intended to be.
Right.
Something that people I noticed were complaining about, and something that I was kind of upset about. This could obviously change later on, but usually in Battlefield, when you're playing and you want to change your class, you can do that in the menus. For this beta, I don't know if it's going to be in the final version again, but you couldn't change or customize your class in the game. You would have to either finish the round or leave the game. So if you unlock something, you would either have to wait to the end of the game to be able to equip it next time, or quit the game outright and then start queuing again once you've applied whatever changes you made. So that's I feel like
that's just a beta thing.
I hope so. I know that's something that people weren't too happy about, and I imagine it'll be something that changes at some point.
Yeah.
If they do listen to their community on this one, that seems like a pretty obvious change.
They usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad.
One of the other things that I hope they listen to the community on is this new healing and ammo system. Bit of controversy.
They changed it?
Bit of controversy around this change, yeah. So in past games, if you were the medic class, you would have either a med pack or a med bag that you would throw on the ground. You standing on top of that would start healing you. Same with ammo. If you threw ammo on the ground, you would stay on top of it, or ammo bag.
Support.
Yeah, you would get that ammo. Now it's, if you are a medic, you have ammo packs that you throw out to people, and once they take damage, you hold, for Xbox, it was up on the D-pad, and that would start healing you. It wasn't an automatic apply. So if you're a medic, you're running around with med packs, and you would throw them out to people. And
it's
once
not
they
AoE
had that,
anymore?
No, it's not AoE. It's once they had the med pack held up on the D-pad, then they could start healing themselves. Otherwise, you would have to, when you spawn on a point in Conquest, there's med boxes and ammo boxes. When you run over it, you would pick up one med box, and you would run over to the ammo one and pick up an extra magazine of ammo. So if you didn't do either of those, you would have one less clip of ammo and no way to heal yourself unless there was a medic in your area. So
I kind of like that. You can't just consistently get ammo and health. From
well, the thing is, when you
ground.
would, specifically on the ammo front, when you would spawn, you would only have what's in your gun and then an extra clip, and that's it. So if you're not camping a med point or a ammo point, and if you don't have a support class giving you ammo, you're out of ammo, like just period. So you only have 2 clips basically, unless you're being given ammo or picked up one at the beginning. I think the system itself is a good idea. Mm-hmm. The way they're doing it, I don't think it's a good idea, in my opinion. I think
just have more ways of getting ammo.
It's an interesting idea, but 2 ammo clips is not enough to spawn with, and to have to go every time to pick up ammo, or be playing with a squad that's really good at giving each other ammo and giving out med packs and whatnot. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I just don't think it's a good idea in practice. After using it, I don't think it's that good of an idea.
Yeah. How far away is Battlefield from launch? Like
they delayed
2
it a
months?
month, So it was gonna drop in between Red Dead or Call of Duty and Red Dead, and then they backed it up a month. So what is Call of Duty and Red Dead? That's not October, is it?
They're like November-ish.
Yeah, they might.
I know Call of Duty's come out in November.
Oh, so. Well, whatever it is, Battlefield backed it up a month, so they do have time to fix some of these problems, and I'm sure they will, because these are minor things that can be fixed just with a little tweaking. Because there are a lot of positives about this game. I'm not gonna lie. I think the focus on gunplay and ground movement rather than tanks and cars was such a better idea. The days
but that's what Battlefield's known for, though.
I know,
known for its vehicles.
But as a gun player, I guess you could call it, I don't like constantly being chased down by tanks and cars that I just have no chance of just like beating. Because once you level those things up, they can get insanely good, and they're hard to take out if you don't have a competent team, and if you're not playing the specific class that has like a rocket launcher or something to take them out. So
that's why when the full game comes out, though, they have all those different like game modes, like TDM. Like there's no vehicles in there.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I usually play those, but I do sometimes want to be able to play like objective-based games, and I don't know. In my opinion, I think this is a smart idea to kind of change it up a little bit, because most Battlefields have been cars and vehicles and stuff, and I don't know. Made it
different.
Yeah, maybe focusing on guns and ground play more will be effective. Another thing I did like is there is a lot of customization options. There was a limited amount in the beta, but you can definitely see where they're going with it. Like there's when you upgrade your gun, or when you level up your gun, there's like a skill tree for each weapon now, and you can buy your way down the skill tree with the in-game currency. No microtransactions, by the way. I should throw that in there.
Whoa.
You can buy your way down the skill tree, upgrading your gun depending on if you want it like better for short range, better for long range, different characteristics, better at hip fire, better at aiming down sight, quicker. I think that is cool. What they need to do though is give the player like a folder system to be able to like store different gun customizations. So if you want to use this one specific gun for long range and then use this same specific gun for close range, there should be an easier way to change that in and out. That's just a thing I think most players would want, because there is a cool customization system. It just needs to be
work out the kinks.
Yeah, worked out the kinks, put into place effectively. And then there's like minor stuff like visual customization on your like each gun part that you can unlock, and all that little stuff that I think has an infinite amount of ways that it can go, really. And I enjoyed the beta, I'm not gonna lie. There is some problems that need to be fixed and can easily be fixed before the full game comes out.
Right.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I do like the way they're going with it. My biggest complaint, I would say, is just the game time, really. It's just a little long for me. Otherwise, it was really fun. It looks good, feels good, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna definitely get it when it comes out, so I'm looking forward to that.
One more question about it, though.
Go for it.
How was like the new destruction physics that they put in? Because I was watching a trailer earlier and it just kind of looked a little clunky. Like it wasn't like polished yet.
To compare it to Battlefield 4, where there was the whole levolution system where you could like take down the dam or take down the skyscraper, it was a little more toned back than that, but it was definitely more destruction than Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1, there wasn't much to any that I can remember. There was some on like buildings. This feels like it's a little more dynamic. You're not gonna see like buildings like leveled completely, but you're already gonna see you're gonna see like sections of buildings knocked off. I know in the snow map you can like shoot the snow off the rooftop and see it like fall down. So there's like different stuff like that. I wouldn't say there's anything crazy destruction wise, but I think they're in the right place with it. It seems pretty cool. The way the buildings kind of get destroyed and whatnot, I kind of liked. So, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
All right. That's good then.
Yeah,
So
I enjoyed it.
Look out for Battlefield, man.
Look out for Battlefield. what we need to
Coming
look out
back.
for now is this hot Spider-Man game. Hot off the presses. Brandon, I need you to tell me right now. Game of the Year contender?
Game of the Year contender, for me at least. I'm a little biased right now though because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I just love everything Spider-Man, like just outfit, the origin, just everything, all the suits, all the different variants, different universes. It's just so good, and Insomniac nails it to a T because you can just tell that they also just like love Spider-Man. So they just put in all this little stuff that didn't even need to be added, but it's great. It's great.
What? My one question is, I've seen a lot of screenshots. Obviously, there's that photo mode or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, what is the story? Where does this take place in the Spider-Man universe? Is it canon, or is it just a retelling of a story we already know?
It's a original story.
Okay.
It takes place 8 years after he has his powers. So he's done school, he's done everything. He's basically put every criminal he's ever fought away. But yeah, now he's just living life as Spider-Man as a 26-year-old, swinging through New York,
right?
Which in this game is huge, by the way. Like their last game, Sunset Overdrive, they've already said it's like 5 times larger, which
Really?
it is. It's easily so much bigger.
And
I haven't even seen all of it yet, and I put in 10 hours.
The Sunset map was pretty big as well.
Yeah,
that wasn't that small.
It's huge. This map's huge.
What is it
Like
in comparison to the GTA 4 map? That was in New York, right?
I didn't play much of GTA 4, but I would say probably around the same size, if not a little bigger.
Okay.
Like it's huge. Yeah, like I said, I've already put in 10 hours, and I haven't even visited all the outposts that you have to go to unlock the map, or at least see the objectives within that certain area.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Assassin's Creed. You go to those like synchronization points, and you sit up there, and then you look around.
Does the map become more visible once you do that?
Yeah, you see all the objectives.
Too.
Yeah, that too.
That's
how they do it.
Is there, when you go to those outposts, is it kind of like you scale up and you're there, or is it like a little boss or a little bad guy section you have to clear out?
It's a mini game. It's like a signal, like because there are like police like signals that they can like show you all like crime and everything, and so like there's like a wavelength, and you have to. The thing I can compare it to is in Batman. You remember when you would hack things and you would have to like move both joysticks around to get the right fix?
I do.
It's that.
Okay.
It's that mini game.
Interesting.
It's good though.
So, what are you doing in this game? What is your, I guess, minute-to-minute gameplay experience like? Are you fighting a lot, flying a lot? What's happening?
Well, it starts off. The very first fight is against Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, who's like a big mob boss, holds around all like the crime and everything, says that he's keeping things in order, but honestly he's just kind of making everything his own. Right. But yeah, it starts out with that fight, but for the majority of the beginning of the game, after that fight, it's you swinging around, looking around the area, fighting crime. It's just a lot of free roaming for a little bit.
Okay.
And they'll just casually spit out a story and tell you to go to this place in which you have to swing to. Which the swinging in this game is perfect, by the way. It's just so good.
Right.
Momentum is a key thing in here. You could just see yourself getting faster and faster, and you can just maneuver around so perfectly. And they give you the trick list or whatever. It's not huge. I wish it was like a bigger selection of tricks that you could do. It's just basically like a front flip, back flip, left spin,
while
right
you're
spin.
swinging.
Yeah, while you're swinging.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
But it's only like 4 moves. I wish that they would expand upon that a little more. They might, but so far it's pretty basic.
I want to focus on 2 things. First, or missions, and then movement. Actually, we'll start with movement first, so we'll kind of talk about that anyway. For movement, do you think it's better or worse than Sunset Overdrive's? Because Sunset Overdrive's was kind of unique, where you could kind of move and glide around however you wanted. There's a lot of different paths you would take. Do you think this is kind of dynamic like that? And go ahead.
It is, but it is because there's multiple ways that you can traverse. Like you can climb up every individual building, like you could just wall climb it, run up it, anything. You can web swing around like over like the road or something like that, or you can swing over buildings. There's like a move where you press R2 L2 and you'll zip to a certain location. If you press X at the right moment, he'll lunge off it at like super fast speeds, and then you can cling onto the wall again and just be going really fast. There's just a bunch of different maneuverability in it, and there's like these cement like tubes that if like you do that move on, you'll go through it.
Right.
This game helps you a lot. It helps you a lot.
That's what I was gonna ask. Does it feel like it's kind of the game playing, or do you feel like you're kind of in control of Spider-Man's every move?
You feel like you're in control, but it helps. Like
Okay.
if you swing and like you're gonna hit a building, he'll just hit it and go up. He won't just stop in his tracks. He'll hit it. You'll see him stumble a little bit, and then he'll just run up the building, and then you can press X at a certain time, and he'll fling back off the building again and go. It's like that too. If you're going sideways, he'll just catch it on an angle and run across the building, and then jump off again, or swing around it. No matter, there's just so many different ways that you can just go around. It's perfect.
Is there a way to? Is it like I don't know how I want to phrase this question, but does it feel like it's continually going like with your movement, or do you feel like sometimes you have to kind of cheese the system and kind of finagle your way around? Like if you're going straight for a building, is there like a way to just like quickly dash out of the way, or is it kind of like just
you're stuck? Stuck in that.
Yeah.
There is a dodge mechanic that you can use. It's just circle, but you can use it in the air too, and he'll web sling in a certain direction and pull himself in that direction. And you do control the direction that you swing in. It's not a constant straight. Like if you go left or right, he'll swing left or right. You can do corners really well. You can turn around if you really want. You can hold down R2. He'll just keep the swing, and if you hold back on the analog stick, he'll just go the opposite way.
That's cool.
It doesn't make you let go.
Right.
But if you let go at pivotal moments, like if you let go mid-swing, he'll just go straight forward. Or if you leave it going and let go at the top of it, the peak of the swing, he'll like do like flips into the next swing. It's just very fluid.
What is the transition like from that movement system to like fighting on the ground or whatnot? Is it like a hard transition to where you're starting fighting, you can't swing away anymore, or is it like at a moment's notice you're fighting and then you can just leave if you wanted to?
You can just leave whenever you want.
So
honestly.
Inside or
you're
outside?
Not forced. Yeah, you can swing inside too.
Okay.
Like if you're in an inside area, like the first fight with Fisk, you end up in a big room fighting him, and you can just press R2 and he'll zip up and swing around the room.
Okay.
But yeah, from web slinging to fighting, that's a good thing to say, because if you press triangle, you'll zip right to someone if they're in your vicinity. So like you could just swing right over someone, hit triangle, and he'll go down and start the fight. But if you don't want to continue the fight, you can just walk away and press R2 and you're gone. You don't need to stay there. But the fighting's so good. It's Batman.
That's how I hear that comparison
Batman.
a lot, which is, I guess, a good comparison to make considering how well received those games are.
Those, if not this, those are the best superhero games. Like Batman Arkham Asylum, when that came out, everyone's like, it's just gonna be another superhero game, and then everyone's like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see decent video game and TV and movie adaptations into games. It's kind of cool to see that, knowing how poorly they've done in the past, specifically like Superman 64. Everyone knows how bad that was. And there's just a million examples like that. Let's move over to missions now. What are the missions like in that game? Is it all fighting? Is it time trial stuff? Is it trailing missions? What is your average mission like?
Your average mission is fighting, but there are variants. Like there are ones where there's a car driving away that you have to hop on. You take the drivers out, and then you got to do like a QT event that you catch the car and you stop it mid-track, and if you don't get like a certain like a token, which are used to unlock gadgets and costumes and power-ups. But there are some story missions that have you taking control of certain characters, which I won't mention because they're spoilers. But they're like hiding missions, sneaking around, getting to certain areas without being seen. Trailing missions, like searching for chemicals. There's a lot of mini games that require, like, they're not necessary because there's a huge skip button. I don't know why they added those in.
Is that for like all missions that aren't fighting, or is that for like mini game stuff?
That's like what I was just talking about was mini game. Other stuff is like story and side quests.
That stuff's not skippable.
That stuff is not skippable. Just the mini games.
Gotcha.
There's like a power surge thing where you gotta make sure there's the right voltage to a certain thing. Those you could skip, or like a chemical test that you can skip.
Why would they add that? I wonder.
I don't know. Maybe
does it just like complete it for you basically, or
yeah, it just finishes it so you can continue.
Is there any penalty
you get
for
stumped? I'm not sure, but there's also an option which I saw. There is an autocomplete QTE option.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's for. I imagine that's for like disabled gamers. For disabled gamers, sometimes it's hard to quickly move around to different button presses within a certain amount of time. So I imagine that's why that's for that. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. I just never saw that before.
Yeah, that's a thing I've seen in online communities and whatnot. For QuickTime events, it's hard for
they request it.
Disabled gamers to be able to handle those properly. So yeah, I have to imagine that's why they added those. That makes sense to me.
Okay.
What would you say is the breakdown of missions? Is like 50% fighting, 50% swinging, whatever?
I'd say it's like 80% fighting.
Okay.
And then like 10% is you playing as other characters, and then the other 10% is like actually no, I should go 70% fighting, 10% playing as other characters, and then 20% are the ones that are just like around the city. Mm-hmm. Like there'll just be a spontaneous like criminal act, like robbing a bank, drive away vehicle.
And do those progress the story at all, or is that just like random?
Those
events?
Don't. Those get you XP tokens and other stuff to unlock gadgets. But they're super fluent. Like you could be going towards a story mission, one could happen run, or you swoop down, do it, and then you're just off again.
That's kind of cool.
Know what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's fluid, like I said before. It's great.
Apart from like missions and stuff, what other like little things are there that you think should be mentioned, like cosmetics or customization, stuff like that? What do you think is kind of the bread and butter otherwise?
Suits.
Okay.
Suits for days.
Tell me about them.
There's like 50. No, not 50. Is it 50? I think there's 50 suits. I'm just gonna label 50. I'm probably wrong, but all of them have their own unique abilities. Like Scarlet Spider has decoys that confuse enemies. There is the Homecoming suit from the movie that has that taser robot thing that flies around with him in the movie. There is the armored spider suit that has bulletproof. Right. And then it's just like it's all like its own stuff. Like they only have their own abilities. But the cool thing is that you can swap. So you can have the Scarlet Spider suit with bulletproof. You can have Homecoming suit with like power up, which just fills up your focus meter over time. You can swap, and then they also have 3 other attribute layers to the suit. So like you can take less damage from melee, take less damage from shooting. You could do more damage when you're in the air, when you air combo somebody. There's like a decent amount of customization there. And then gadgets. There's 10 gadgets. I haven't unlocked all of them yet, but there's like an electro web, a drone, a web bomb, which is really cool.
Kind of sounds like Breath of the Wild a little bit.
Yeah, tiny bit. And then there's like a trip mine, which like you stick to an area, they walk by, and they just get stuck to the wall, which is pretty funny.
It's pretty cool.
And there are stealth mechanics. Like you can. There's these things called bases that you can do, and you can't do the whole thing stealthy, but you can finish the first wave without getting seen. Like I did it. I don't think I got an achievement for it, which I feel like they should have. But you can like perch up on an area, press square, and you grab a person, you wrap them up, and then they're just stuck dangling in the air.
Right.
It's like like I said again, it's like Batman. Like you can take out a whole area without being seen.
What are your 10 hours in? What are your overall impressions so far? How are you feeling about it? Happy about your purchase?
Oh my god, I'm so happy. I've been waiting for this since 2016 when they first showed it.
Right.
But overall, I'm glad that they didn't choose to do the origin again.
Yeah, I think
because everyone knows Uncle Ben dies. But it's like it's an original story, a bunch of bosses. It's not perfect, but like it's pretty good. Like
right.
It's for me, it's the best Spider-Man game that's been released.
We might have to come back to this at some point once you've like fleshed it all out and gotten all the way through.
I could spoil it a little bit.
Yeah. But we wanted to get this out now. We wanted to get a hot take on it. Any final thoughts you need to get out there on Spider-Man?
Good game. Worth the $60. They really like Spider-Man. You can tell when you play it.
Nice. You've convinced me to maybe buy a PlayStation and maybe get this game.
You're not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is end this podcast, though. Brandon, thank you for hosting this time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
As always, you can check our socials in the description. Thank you so much for watching. You can like and subscribe, comment what you want to see next time, and we'll see you next time.
See ya!